Welcome to the show that talks about Tulsa. People making a difference in the Tulsa community. Special guest interviews spotlighting local businesses to covering important issues within the community no one else is talking about. The hot topics and more. Ladies and gentlemen, this is World One Development's News You Can Use, hosted by Mr. Charles Harper and Ms. Damali Wilson.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to World One Development's News You Can Use. We want to thank everyone for either listening on the radio, watching us on Facebook Live, and on www.KBOB899.com, or tuning in to any of the other News You Can Use media networks, which are powered by World One Development. We really appreciate that. I am your hostess with the mostest, Miss Damali Wilson.
And I'm Charles Harper. It's Wednesday, a.k.a. Hump Day, January 18th, 2023. And we are live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. right here on KBOB 89.9 FM and simulcast on the News You Can Use media networks, powered by World One Development. We are set for an exciting show, you guys. You better call your mom and them and tell them. You can call in at 918-856-3873 or post your comments on our Facebook Live feed at World One Development.
So, on today's show, the medical report with Dr. Andre Perdue. Today's topic, long-term and short-term rehabilitation for stroke victims.
That's real. We'll also talk about our promotion in the World One Development Organization.
And of course, our Hump Day hot topics, which are Damar Hamlin has been discharged from the hospital, the Gap Band families allege unpaid royalties, find out what, and another COVID wave is on the horizons, birthdays and more.
This is News You Can Use right here on KBOB 89.9 FM and simulcast on the News You Can Use media networks, powered by World One Development. Y'all lock in with us. We'll be right back.
Fitting Back In is a reintegration program designed to help those released from prison to fit back into the community as productive, valuable members of society. They help schedule various classes such as anger management, substance abuse, and mental health. They also work with different programs in the community to provide job training. If you or someone you know needs help with resources in career development, employment, or housing, to find out more information, call 918-592-3500 or stop by 2121 North Harvard Avenue, Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
The 36th Street North Event Center is a full-scale event center where we share the experiences of the community. At the event center, you can rent space for weddings, birthday parties, receptions, concerts, Greek events, quinceañeras, and much more. We also do custom decor, linen, and centerpieces. We're located at 1125 East 36th Street North. To book your next special event, business gathering, or community event, call us at 918-200-9046.
This is News You Can Use right here on KBOB 89.9 FM and simulcast on the News You Can Use media networks, powered by World One Development.
And we are back. So News You Can Use is all about shedding some light on the positive happenings in our community. There are many great businesses, programs, and events occurring in our neighborhood, and we felt the community needed to hear about those things, one, so we can support, and two, so we can be involved.
I'm Charles Harper, newly appointed to CEO of World One Development.
Okay.
Which includes Fitting Back In, EduRec Youth and Family Fun Center, 36th Street North Event Center, and Oklahoma Community Support Coalition. My job, because the world wants to know, is financial stability and infrastructure for all of our community development projects. And I am so excited and I am so elated to be one of the creators of this phenomenal show.
And I'm Damali Wilson, newly appointed Chief Operating Officer for World One Development. And my job is designing and implementing business operations, establishing policies, and to promote company culture and vision. I am also in charge of social media for all of the World One Development entities. If you would like to advertise your business or organization on this show or any of our other individual platforms, inbox me your contact information on Facebook Messenger so we can talk. I am also happy and elated to be one of the creators of this show.
Damali.
What's up?
COO, what's up?
I know, CEO, what's cracking?
Not a bad look on you, COO. Right? Okay. Boy, that's a long time coming, though.
I know, man. A lot of grind. A lot of grind.
They made us do the work.
Okay.
We had blood, sweat, and tears.
Right.
Literally.
Yes.
To get here. But, God is good. Yes. Being in the community, trying to be that beacon of light,
Yeah.
trying to be that help, trying to be that hope, for these years. It's been a fun, excellent ride, and we got a lot more to do because with a position means more work.
That's right. So don't get twisted by that title. That title don't mean nothing but work, and more work.
I know. I noticed coming into KBOB, everybody looked like they slept good. I think it was because of that rain last night.
Man, that rain did me some good. I'm trying to tell you.
I heard that thunder. I said, uh-oh, here we go.
It's on now.
And then it rained like all night.
Yeah.
It was raining all this morning. I got in my car to get ready to head over to the radio station. Clear blue skies.
Yes.
No rain.
Because the Lord know if the rain is still out there, both of us, we laying down.
He's going to be on the radio struggling. He knew it. So he looked out for us.
He's like, nope, let me hit this button right here.
You knew you're going pretty good so far?
Going really good. I will say that the MLK parade
happened
over the weekend.
Man, wasn't that something?
Yes, we had a blast.
I heard we end up being number 3 in the nation.
I don't believe
like
that.
I believe
still think
won.
we number 1.
Whatever, count them numbers. A recount.
Right.
If they do it at the White House, we can do it right here.
Right.
We got to recount because I know the way people came out, it was so good. We got to load the show today, so let me kick this thing off by thanking and appreciating our first responders, our healthcare professionals, our food providers, and our restaurant workers for their services on the front lines during this time. It's great how organizations and churches in the community, Molly, they continue to come together to help us until we can get out of this storm.
Yes, and we trying, but it just ain't working. But before we get started, we want to send prayers to the family, friends, and fans of the University of Georgia's offensive lineman, Devin Willock, who was 20 years old, and recruiting staff members Chandler LaCroix, who was 24. They were killed in a car wreck just hours after the Bulldogs celebrated their second straight national championship.
Man,
man, that's crazy. There were 2 others in the vehicle. One had minor injuries and the others listed in serious condition. So we want to be praying for those individuals. I'm sure Georgia is, man, how come you go from a high like that to now, boom, you know what I mean?
Here's the thing, Molly, man, there's a lot of people out there with college kids right now.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, when your kid is in college, you are praying. People don't know you praying every day because they driving in the car.
Yeah.
They riding with other people in cars. Mm-hmm. And they just living a life. And the thing about being 18, 19, 20 is you feel like you're going to live forever.
Yep.
And so I can only imagine how devastating. You got to think his family probably was in town and you got teammates, you got all that. So our heart and our prayers definitely go out to the University of Georgia, his family, and all of that. And man, we just got to get through it together because we can't take nothing like that lightly. We don't know the other details, but the bottom line is, man, the young people are gone and they had their whole entire life ahead of them.
Exactly. We want to also send out prayers to the family, friends, and fans of Lisa Marie Presley. You know, she was the only daughter of Elvis Presley, and she died on Thursday at the age of 54 from cardiac arrest. And she leaves behind 3 daughters.
Man,
that's crazy. I've been to Graceland, and I loved Elvis. Just watch them old movies, Jailhouse Rock. Come on, let's get it.
Get that leg going. That was the original stinky leg. Elvis had it, but it was going too fast. We slowed it down. That wasn't really the stinky leg. That was the quick leg. But we took it and said, man, to make it stinky, just slow it down.
Slow it down.
Leg. I ain't gonna talk about that no more. But prayers
for that family
out there in California, man. Sometimes people assume people with a lot of money got it good and their life is just easy, but we all deal with it regardless of how much money is in the bank. Our health is something. How we live is something, and what we do every day, it affects us in some form or fashion. But hey, we're going to miss her. The one good thing about her, hopefully she's with her dad again.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Because, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord if you live a certain way. So
that's right.
I'm hoping that's the case.
That's right. And lastly, we want to also send out prayers to the family and friends of the 72 people who lost their lives on the Yeti Airlines plane crash in Nepal.
Right. I saw that.
That was awful. I saw the pictures and I'm just like, oh my God, so they're still recovering bodies, but we want to send prayers out to those families, who are like waiting to find out, where their loved one is, and praying, we're praying with you.
Absolutely. And some quick shout outs real quick because today is a special day. You know how it goes sometimes. They seen the guy rolling down the street. They start calling me. I said, y'all got to hold on a minute.
Right.
So the secret listeners is all over. But I know it's for a good cause.
It's for a good cause.
But we also got a lot of people on here right now. Your Uncle Brian is on.
Hey, Uncle Brian.
Teresa.
Hey, sister.
Your mom, Mama.
Yes. Hey, Mama.
Jeremiah Blackwell coming in from Mississippi.
Hey, Jeremiah.
Then I got that notation with all the secret people. Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
Boy, one day y'all better come on up in here. KBOB probably could even hold the secret listeners.
Okay. I see Tanya Wilson is on too.
Tanya's on. Judge Tanya Wilson.
Yeah.
What's going on, Tanya?
Hey.
Let me tell you what's funny. I had like 3 people text me this morning because people don't think it's actually me texting in the morning.
Funny.
I know. So every week, 2 or 3 people go, wait a minute, Charles, is this you texting me? I thought this was some kind of program or something. No.
It's really you.
I am the program.
Yes,
so
in the flesh.
It's real love on News You Can Use.
The CEO.
Then I text back, I'm like,
you.
how your mom and them doing? It's me for real. It's not a program.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, no, it's all love with KBOB. I do that because let me tell you something, Damali, something that I thought about.
Yeah.
Man, people are so busy. When you think about it, you can easily not see somebody for 2-3 years. I mean, people that you know really, really good. And what I thought about this morning, I'm gonna continue to text everybody. You know why? Because if I didn't text some of these people, I may never hear from them again ever in life.
Exactly.
So that's just a perspective for me. So I'm gonna keep it going. My cousin Waletta.
Hey Waletta, how are you?
Johnson from Arkansas just tuned in, man. She does awesome work in the autism area.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, I remember this.
You remember my cousin Waletta? You know, I be saying
I
I can't wait for her to come here because she talks to the police department, the first responders.
I saw some of her videos.
To adjust, you know, what's going on in the autism world because we got to have a space for all of us.
Exactly.
So,
I totally agree.
We gonna work it out.
Great work. Hey, resolution check-in. So who's still JB? Did you have pork chops this week? We're gonna start with you.
He didn't. He made it.
No, I had a steak.
Oh, okay.
Is that a little better?
Is that better?
Pork chop, we got the medical report today, so we'll see. Is a pork chop better than steak? I don't know.
Look, Dr. Purdue just busted out laughing.
We're gonna get to him next. That was
a 36-ounce ribeye.
Oh my God. Oh, okay, looking at his face, that is not good.
Yeah,
you're gonna be tired for a while.
Yeah.
I didn't eat the whole thing.
Oh, you didn't.
He gonna have to swallow something to help him digest it. Like swallow something that can help because the digest that gonna take a minute.
I couldn't eat the whole thing.
Okay, thank God.
I only had like 12 ounces of it.
So Charles, you got started on the 15th.
Hold on now. I extended mine to the 15th. Lord. I extended everybody.
You did. Yeah,
I said, hey, we started New Year's resolution on the 15th just because Charles is late. But I've been drinking way more water.
Okay.
I'm down to 203 pounds.
Okay.
Heading to 200. Not 100. 100. It's different.
200.
In the hood, it's 100. Heading to 200. And I've been reading my Bible. I've been studying. I've been looking at my vision that I made plain on tablet. Yeah. And you know, so I'm rolling, but I'm only what's today? 18th? Don't jinx me. I'm 3 days in. I'm 72 hours. So JB is with me.
Right?
He put the pork chop down.
Yeah. Pork chops down.
How y'all doing on y'all New Year's resolution?
Yeah, y'all doing good. You know, because y'all don't want to be in that 25% that fall off before the end of the month.
Man, that's crazy.
You don't want to do that.
So read that statistic. So what happens with out of 100% of people that write down their New Year's resolutions?
75% at the end of the month they are still in. So 25% is out, and 2 months in, you only have 54%.
So y'all keep holding on.
JB fell off in the beginning, but he got a reset.
Yeah,
we got to reset at 15, so he doing good.
He doing good. Okay, so we gonna check up next week and see who's still on and who's still up. Y'all
I'm down 20 pounds.
He
down 20 pounds.
Yeah. I'm down 20 pounds, and I ate a steak.
Okay, well, come on, JBZ. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Who's doing that Daniel fast?
I don't know. Not me.
They said they just said duh, and I left. I'm sorry. No, I'm just saying I grew up without a lot of food. I'm still playing catch up, so I do fast from time to time. But boy, sometimes I start having flashbacks. Trauma starts setting in. I'm like, when you grew up and you couldn't eat sometimes, even when you wanted to, it's hard sometimes. The Lord is with you. You got a bomb. Hey, we got a trivia question today. What we gonna do?
Yes, Black History trivia question.
All right.
You know, so here we go. Okay, so you remember, guys, how this works. We're going to give you the question. We're going to give you 4 multiple choice answers. You are not supposed to cheat. And then at the end of the show, we're going to give you the answer and a little bit of history about the answer.
Right.
Okay, so Black History trivia question for today is, who became the first woman African-American attorney in 1872 in the United States? Okay. A. Jane Bolin. B. Ida B. Wells. C. Mary Eliza Mahoney. Or D. Charlotte E. Ray.
That's not fair.
What?
Because they all sound like attorney names. I'm gonna go because I don't know. That I was before my great grandma was born.
Stop it.
But I'm gonna go with that. Is that A. Jane Bolin?
No, it's A.
A. Jane.
That's the first
that
one.
ain't it.
What you got?
Ida B. Ida B did it.
You say I to
If
B.
your name
okay.
I to B, you was on the move. I'm telling you
Okay.
right now. That's
So-
fine. So what is that?
So
B?
that's B. All right.
Oh, Teresa said B.
Teresa said B. So we gonna see. Okay, y'all keep the answers coming. I see
Man.
Pastor Stephen Caperi over in
All the
Uganda
way from
is
Uganda
on.
back in the
Yes.
building. I also see Daniel all the way in as well from Uganda. Welcome to the
Okay.
show. We've been
Hey,
talking about you guys all week.
Waletta says B too.
Well, let me say it. And
Yeah.
I said it first, Dr. Purdue. I didn't cheat. I didn't
didn't
look. Now, not
He
to
did
say we right.
process of elimination.
We gonna be wrong. Hey, Brian said B.
Okay, Uncle Brian said B. All
I
right,
hope they ain't
let's
all
see.
saying B because I
We
said
gonna
it because
see.
we're gonna be wrong or right together.
Yeah,
And we're
right.
gonna get Dr. Purdue and JB to give us take. You don't leave us out here hanging by ourselves.
All right. So today, well, actually, this was supposed to happen last week,
Right,
but
but things
hey,
happen.
things happen, so we moved it to this week. Time. Judge. Okay, I gotta say this for Judge Wilson. Okay, Judge Wilson, this is the deal. Black History trivia question: who became the first woman African American attorney in 1872 in the United States? Was it A. Jane Bolin, B. Ida B. Wells, C. Mary Eliza Mahoney, or D. Charlotte E. Ray? And I'll tell you the answer at the end, but I just had to say that because the judge asked.
I said B.
Charles
Some other
said
people
B.
said B. And Lakeisha Johnson,
my
Keisha
daughter
just
number
said B.
2.
We gonna see. But
She
with that
said
being
B,
said,
so
we got
Keisha said
a
B.
super special guest in here. We're gonna get to it because we got a lot to cover. So
Yes.
with that being said,
Dr. Andre
Chilling
Purdue.
on the corner in my 6th fault. Hypertension and stress. I don't need no more. 1, 2, 3 to the fault. The doctor's at the door, ready to make an entrance. The doctor's in. Doctor, please help us save the world. Oh, yeah. It's time for the medical report with Dr. Andre Purdue. Right here, right now. With Charles and Damali on World One Development's News You Can Use. What's up, Doc?
That is the funniest drop ever. I love it.
man,
Funniest drop ever.
welcome to 2023.
Right.
The doctor's still with
Love
us,
that
man.
drop.
Love the drop.
Doc, is this our first time seeing you this year on the show?
Yes, it is, sir.
Oh,
Yes, it is.
wow.
Happy New Year. Happy
New Year.
2023.
Hey,
Yes.
Happy New Year, family. Happy New
Yeah.
Year.
How you doing? How's the family? How's the kids? How's the wife? How's everybody
Yeah.
doing?
Listen, everybody's doing good. My 2 oldest are back at college, and my youngest is kind of trying to rule the house,
Uh-oh.
and my wife is doing her wifely duties.
All
and
right.
she is, matter of fact, she's got a birthday coming up.
Come on.
Her birthday is tomorrow, so my queen.
Yes.
I'm not gonna put her age out there because she'll get me in a headlock, and we can't have that.
We don't want that.
But she is as beautiful today as she was the first moment I saw her when I fell in
Come on.
love with her.
Aw,
Hey, I
that's
love it.
so sweet.
You know
Good
what? I
job.
seen him down there getting something. It's like they was getting it stamped and certified because he was trying to make tomorrow a holiday. I was like, is it really a holiday? I didn't know what he was doing. They were like, man, move.
Jolie,
you
he
doing-
trying to hook you up,
but
girl.
he was focused on getting it done. So tomorrow just might be a national holiday. And
Yes.
if it is, it's going to be Jolie.
My sister says she loves the Dr. Drop.
Okay, I do too. I do too.
Shout out to JB on that.
I come in just for the doctor drop.
Right.
Look.
Yeah.
See you can see Doc now. But what happened is he had his coat on at first, but then
Right.
when the drop came, he started kind of like
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
this,
yeah,
and
and
the
they came out
jacket
his
came off,
jacket,
the
yeah.
top, everything came off. By the time the song went off, he was sitting up.
Yes, indeed.
and
Yes, indeed.
transformed. All right, so
Yes. So today, we're going to talk a little bit about stroke,
man,
and we're going to talk about rehab after you've had. Okay, so let's just be clear. Doc has been giving you guys information for the longest time about what to do so that you don't walk down this road.
right?
But if you should find yourself on this road, now he's going to give you some information about what you should do and how you should respond to whatever your situation is.
Absolutely.
All right, Doc. So what you got for us today?
Well, listen, stroke is a medical emergency. Stroke is
Yes.
still the number one leading cause of morbidity in the world as far as medical conditions goes. It's the 5th leading cause of death. We have roughly somewhere in the neighborhood of 820,000 strokes per year in the United States.
Man,
And probably worldwide, that number is probably somewhere around 5 to 6 million. So it's one of those things that in our community, we're unfortunately cursed by.
Mm.
Risk factors: high blood pressure, diabetes, smoking. There are some risk factors that we can't control. We can't control the fact that we as a people have a higher risk of stroke. We can't control the fact that men tend to have strokes more often than women. We can't control the fact that as we get older, by each decade, your risk of stroke doubles.
Right.
So there are things that we can control and things we can't control. Well, the things that we can control
Yes.
will help you in your recovery from a stroke.
Sure.
So heaven forbid someone has a stroke, by controlling their blood pressure, controlling their blood sugar, being compliant on their medications, being physically and mentally active, those will go a long way towards helping to optimize someone's recovery from a stroke.
Sure.
There's nothing more important than just putting the work in, and
Right.
particularly in our community, particularly in the men in our community, when someone has a disability, facial droop or weakness on one side of their body, or have difficulty with their speech, what we have a tendency to do is we don't want others to see us in that state.
Right.
And
Yes.
so what we end up doing is removing ourselves from those individuals that can really help us. And what
Right.
happens is that means that we don't recover as well when we do that.
Wow.
If someone is having difficulty with their speech, there's nothing better than speaking.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right.
There's nothing better than reading. There's nothing better, whether you're, standing up in front of a mirror and you're reading your Bible and you're looking at the expression on your face, and is there symmetry in my face when I'm speaking? Are my words coming out clearly? That's
Sure.
all work. That's
Right.
all practice. So whether you're doing physical therapy or doing speech therapy, occupational therapy, when you had a stroke, we're trying to remap the brain. The
Right.
brain is the one organ in the body where God in his infinite wisdom, he built in stem cells within the brain, and those stem cells can be activated by activity, and
Right.
then we can then those stem cells can then take on the role of some of those areas of the brain that have been injured, so we
Sure.
can learn how to speak again, we can
Yeah.
learn
Okay.
how to walk again.
Yes.
But what it comes down to is we have to put the work in.
Yeah.
Let me ask this, because to me it seemed like a lot of times, one, I know a stroke is scary,
Yes.
but then two is how fast people respond.
Mhm.
So can you give them like the statistics on, okay, a stroke is happening at 10 at night at 11, but I'm gonna wait till in the morning before I check with the doctor because I
Mhm.
think I'll be all right for the night.
Mhm.
Tell them
Mhm.
what's going
Yeah.
on when you decide to make that type of decision.
Well, listen, best case scenario, we just received our accreditation for recertification for our stroke program.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
And thank
Yeah,
you.
that's
Appreciate
awesome.
that. And as part of those guidelines, we use the term the golden hour of stroke. And that
Sure.
mainly means that if someone has symptoms that start at 10:01,
Right.
the goal is to get them in the hospital and to get them treated if possible, if there is a treatment that can occur within that hour.
Wow.
So that's the golden hour. So it has been shown that for every minute that the brain is without oxygen, up to 2 million brain cells can be permanently injured.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
So if we work within the confines of what the goal is for the golden hour, and we say, okay, well, listen, someone has a stroke, the beginning elements of a stroke at 10:01, they're treated by 11 o'clock.
Mhm.
You're still susceptible to injuring 100 to 120 million brain cells. Now, how many brain cells do we have? Well, we probably have somewhere in the neighborhood of 10, 15 billion.
Man.
But
Yeah.
listen, as we get older, we all need every brain cell we have, right?
Exactly.
Right.
So
Yes, sir.
even if we do everything correctly, there is a great chance that you can have a significant injury. So when that same individual who has symptoms at 10:01 decides, well, I'm going to go lay down because I must be tired,
Mm-hmm.
or the fact that, look, I don't want to go to the hospital, it's late, I don't want to sit in the emergency room, I'll go in the morning. Well, what's going on is you're not getting any therapy, and if you're not getting any therapy, you're not getting any type of treatment. What happens is that the likelihood of you damaging more of those brain cells goes up exponentially.
Oh, wow.
So now you have someone who may have had 100 to 120 million brain cells injured. Now
Right.
they may have 500 million. So,
Man.
what happens is that the longer you wait, you remove the opportunity for the acute therapy that can be provided. And sometimes that therapy is just managing your blood pressure. Sometimes
Right.
that therapy is managing your blood sugar.
Wow. Okay.
But there are clot busting medications, and there are medical therapies that I'm able to provide and other colleagues of mine are able to provide, where if someone has a blockage of an artery, we can go in and we can pull the clot out and restore blood flow. But the longer you wait to do those things, the greater the chances are that you're not going to have the ability to be a candidate for that.
So let me ask this. So I know that there has been an issue with hospitals being, overcrowded, just because of all that's going on, staff being overworked, if you are a stroke victim and you go to the hospital, does that move you up to the top of the ranks as far as whoever is there?
Well, absolutely it does. Because stroke and heart attack are two areas that, time is really of the essence. We use the term time is brain. Well, time is heart also. So, the longer that you wait, the greater the chances are that you're going to have irreversible injury. So if somebody comes into an emergency room with stroke-like symptoms, they are immediately brought to the front of the line. Usually there are imaging criteria and imaging procedures that are done to determine whether or not they are a candidate for special therapies. So, whether the emergency room is empty or whether the emergency room is completely full, if you're having stroke-like symptoms, come in because you're going to be pushed to the front of the line.
Right. And so when you say that golden hour, because most people be so afraid, because golden hour meaning you get it, man, I need to get in here. The golden hour.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. This is happening. I got to go in. So what's happening when we get to the hospital? So people can know, okay, when you get there, it's not going to be like, we're going to take your skull off and do that. Right. Because some people like, oh no, they're going to start cutting up,
Yeah, just like
so tell them what the golden hour, what's happening.
So listen, when you get to the emergency room, one of the first things is that you get to triage, and the triage nurse is going to ask you a series of questions. If you think that you're having a stroke, that's the first thing you should say. I think I'm having a stroke.
Right.
The triage nurse will have a certain amount of expertise where they can assess a patient. They assess their speech. They assess the way that their face looks. They assess how they're moving their arms and legs. They'll ask them a series of questions. All of that takes roughly about 5 minutes. Somebody who is having a stroke, as soon as it is thought that that's what's going on, they're rushed back usually to get imaging. And that imaging is going to determine whether or not you have a bleeding stroke in the brain or whether you may have what we call an ischemic stroke or a blocked blood vessel that's causing injury to the brain. Also, it gives us the ability to look at those blood vessels. So we call that a CT angiogram. And that's something that is done as part of that collection of tests. We will do a CT perfusion to see what areas of the brain may ultimately be not getting good blood flow versus those areas of the brain that may be permanently injured. Now, that's what is typically done at what we call a comprehensive stroke center, which is what Hillcrest is. Some of the smaller facilities, they will primarily just do a CT or maybe a CT angiogram. Right. I never, ever want a patient to bypass an emergency room because in the process of bypassing an emergency room, by the time you get to the next emergency room, you don't know what shape you're going to be in.
Correct.
But there are systems in place for smaller facilities to transfer patients to these larger facilities for these things to be done. So if you have a local emergency room, a local hospital, and you're having any symptoms that appear to be stroke-like, you want to immediately get there as quickly as possible because the quicker you get there, the quicker you get to Hillcrest or other facilities that may be here in town for the optimal treatment.
Yeah, let me ask this. So those things are going on just because this is your field. When do you come into play with this? Meaning this is probably when you may see me in this process.
So typically I'm involved once information has been acquired.
Right.
Because patients will come into the hospital and they will say, "Look, doc, I've got I'm drooling out of the side of my mouth. I've got a facial droop." We may end up doing testing and we may find out that they may have Bell's palsy or they may have something else.
Right.
Wow.
So once we have the information from the imaging, and I actually have the ability to get the results of that imaging on my phone. So I will get dinged in the middle of the night or during the day if someone is deemed to be having a stroke of what that imaging shows so that I'm looking at it as the emergency room, either resident or attending, as they're calling me, I'm looking at the imaging myself.
Right.
Okay.
So the main goal for us when we talk about that golden hours, we want to truncate as many things as we possibly can so that when we make the decision for treatment, that we have as much time within that golden hour as possible. My ultimate goal is for someone to be treated within 30 minutes. Now, a lot of things have to go right. But the first thing that has to go right is you have to come to the hospital.
Right.
It can't be a matter of you come in to see me, 12 hours in. So the sooner patients get in, the sooner they are assessed and the sooner they're treated. It's always about be fast. And we talked about be fast.
Let's get one of these questions from our listening audience. They probably like, Charles, you and Damali getting all the questions in. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back and go through, once you in rehab, what that's look like long-term, short-term. What's the question?
Okay, so Brian says, what if you're not able to do an MRI?
Well, there are other imaging studies. In the acute setting, we typically will do a CT anyway. If someone can't get an MRI because they have a pacemaker or they may have shrapnel or things of that sort, we will use the CT imaging to make our decisions. But from my standpoint, nothing is more important than the clinical exam. So we don't necessarily have to have an MRI to determine whether or not someone's having a stroke.
With that being said, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back with the doctor. This is news you can use right here on KBOB 89.9 FM. Simulcast on the news. You can use Media Network, powered by World One Development. We'll be right back, y'all. We're going to get those questions.
The Juice Radio Show at KBOB 89.9 would like to say thank you to all of our listeners and sponsors who donate to help keep our media program alive, reaching the community. The Juice Radio Network continues to expand as influencers in the community of North Tulsa and beyond, but can't do that without your help. That's why it's important that we as a community continue to support the Juice Radio Show and keep 89.9 on the air. The community not only deserves this service, but needs this service. Let's continue to support the mission and giving a voice to the voiceless and donate to the Juice Radio Show. The Juice Radio Show is a nonprofit 501c3 powered by KBOB 89.9 and Eden Media Services, operating solely off the gifts, donations, and contributions made by listeners like yourself. All donations made to the Juice Radio Show are tax deductible and can be sent to 1216 North Lansing Avenue, Suite D, Tulsa, Oklahoma 74106.
It's Tulsa, Tulsa. I see you here in Tulsa. I'm in Tulsa chilling.
We appreciate your continued support and thanks for listening to KBOB 89.9 FM.
The 36th Street North Event Center is a full-scale event center where we share the experiences of the community. At the event center, you can rent space for weddings, birthday parties, receptions, concerts, Greek events, quinceañeras, and much more. We also do custom decor, linen, and centerpieces. We're located at 1125 East 36th Street North. To book your next special event, business gathering, or community event, call us at 918-200-9046.
This is news you can use right here on KBOB 89.9 FM and simulcast on the news you can use Media Networks, powered by World One Development. Boy, we got an exciting show going on today. Damali, getting the information you need for a better quality of life.
And that's what this show is all about, is making sure that we are taking care of us. So, if you have questions, make sure you put them in the chat. If we don't have time to get to your question, we're definitely going to give those to the doctor and let him answer those, and we'll get answers back to you. So we have Wyletta. She says, in my area, people don't go to the emergency room because of bad experiences and not being treated properly or with consideration. What do you have to say about that, Doc?
Well, listen, I understand that. As a person of color, that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about being in the community, because I want our people to be able to get the information that they need. And racism is still rampant. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But listen, we have to be advocates for our own health care.
That's right.
You cannot put yourself in a position where you're not receiving care because of a decision that you're making because of what somebody else may do.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, you present to those institutions. If that means you start writing people's names down and then going back and writing a letter to that hospital administration in regards to person A or person B not acting in an appropriate fashion with you,
sure,
that will change the culture there. Mm-hmm. But listen, you have to be the biggest advocate for your own healthcare. You can't not go and then you're at home having a stroke. Those people that are working in the hospital, they're going to continue to do the things that they're going to do, but you're going to be faced with your disability.
Sure.
So again, I don't like when people they bypass an emergency room,
right,
but sometimes that may very well mean that when you are if you call 911 and mess comes out, there are times that they will bypass a facility and send you to a facility that is more equipped to deal with an acute stroke where you won't have that issue. But again, the best thing to do in situations like that, if you're having if you feel like you're having a stroke, call 911 immediately.
Yes.
You know, and get in and be evaluated. And if people are not being respectful and or acting outside of themselves, you know, that's when that hospital administration needs to be put on point.
Yeah, that's a good response right there, Doc. Appreciate it. What we got next, Damali?
And so let's see. Brenda says there was a time where work was way more important than herself, and I felt that if I would have put Brenda first, I wouldn't be as disabled as I am. She said there was a time that I thought I had a stroke, but found out it was just bad, terrible TMJ.
Well, listen, you know what? We as a people, we have been doing that since we've come to this country, putting work before ourselves.
Right.
At one time, we didn't have a choice.
Exactly.
We now have a choice. And you know what? No matter who you are, whether you're a high achiever or not, that's what we do. I think that there's no better time than at the beginning of the year when we're making our New Year's resolutions to start, putting into that what you need to be at your best spiritually, physically, and mentally, and taking that time, a little meditation, a walk a day, things, eating healthy, those little things, by doing that, will give you back some of your health. Unfortunately, when we have been injured over the years, there may be some limitations that we have, but again, that's where rehabilitation comes in, whether it's long-term or short-term rehabilitation. The great thing about the brain is the fact that the greatest recovery tends to occur from an injury, whether it be a stroke or other disabilities. The greatest recovery tends to occur in the first 3 to 6 months. So by being physically active, mentally active, spiritually active, and seeing the appropriate professional to get to aid you in that. Sometimes it's so easy for us to get on our phones and get on YouTube and get on the internet and say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna train myself, or you know what, I've had this disability, I'm gonna treat myself. You know what, get a medical expert. Now that doesn't mean that you don't necessarily educate yourself, and doesn't necessarily mean that later on down the road that you embark on some of those things. But when you have a stroke, you're in the process of stroke recovery, being involved with a program that is specifically geared in managing that is incredibly important.
Let me say, and I'll say this too, and it's, and I don't know, Damali, just think about how many people we know that had a stroke last year.
Yeah.
I mean, that we know personally, that we see, that work with us, that we love and care about. And even at my birthday party, I had the gentleman, Jay Friday, that sang up there. He did the little Freddie Jackson and all that. He had a stroke the next day. And he's a youngster.
Yeah.
And there's been people that work with us that's really close to us. And I was like, man, this is more prevalent. Now, me and Damali had read an article, fact or fiction, we don't know, but it was on the internet that they were saying that the COVID vaccine, Moderna or Pfizer, it was increasing strokes. Is it what in your world, is any of that talk going on?
Well, listen, you know what, we have found, and again, I've said this before, the volume on COVID are still being written.
Sure.
One thing we do know about COVID is that it has a propensity to cause what we call microthrombi to form, which is mainly a small blood clots. A blood clot in the brain of any size can possibly cause a stroke. Now, what the inoculations essentially are trying to do, you're trying to boost someone's immune system so that they can fight off an infection. In the process of boosting someone's immune system, your white blood cell counts may go up. I am more in line with the thought that you are much, much, much more likely to have a stroke because of COVID than from being immunized for COVID. Now, there are people that get immunized for influenza and can have a stroke. So, and you have to look at risk factors. If someone has a multitude of risk factors, high blood pressure, diabetes, morbidly obese, and a variety of things, and then they go out and get an immunization shot, and then they have a stroke, can you really lump that in and say it's because of the immunization shot, or is it because of the preponderance of other medical conditions that you have? And maybe that on top of it may have played a small role, but again, you have these other conditions. I am fervently in the corner of with COVID, the good thing is with each variation, it seems like it's becoming milder, but I still think people should be inoculated. I think people should be practicing, some form of safety.
Right.
I still think that we should be wearing masks to some degree.
Right.
But again, COVID itself, I think it's more of a risk factor for stroke than actually being immunized for it.
So
Let's do one more because I know we got to get to the Hump Day Hot Topics. We'll drop that right after this question.
Okay, so Uncle Brian says, because of COVID, there were several times my wife was pushed out of the way to make room for COVID patients while she was having stroke issues. Is it better now that there is room in the hospital for us now, or do COVID patients still have first priority?
It's better now because of the fact that at one time the number of patients that we had in the hospital was close to 50% of the patients were actually had COVID.
Wow. Yeah.
What we have now gotten to a point where the number of COVID patients is far smaller.
Yes.
The severity of those conditions are far less than they once were. Stroke is still a medical emergency, just as someone who is having a heart attack.
Right.
You should not be pushed out of the way if you're having stroke symptoms, whether you have COVID or having an MI. But the important thing is time is brain. You get to the hospital as quickly as possible so you can be properly evaluated, and in the process you can be properly treated.
Well, we're gonna do the Hump Day Hot Topics, but we're gonna come back. We got a few small questions. We see him, we not passing it up. Hey, your cousin, he's on.
Hey, cousin.
Lil Jube is on, and then man, all the way from Uganda, they saying thank you for the advice, Doc. All the way from Uganda here with us. We're gonna get into these Hump Day Hot Topics real quick, but Doc, I want you to hang on to the 3 things that can help these people doing their New Year's resolution to help percentage-wise, to help them to prevent not having a stroke in 2023.
Right. Yeah.
But coming up next, let's do these Hump Day Hot Topics.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The all new KBOB 89.9 FM, Black on Black Community Radio.
And now it's time for the Hump Day Hot Topics with Charles and Damali.
hey, guess what day it is? Hump Day! Hump Day! It's Hump Day! Hey, Mike! Hey,
The Hump Day Hot Topics on news you can use.
Making it. Mike.
Hey, I tell you what, we got 2 of the hottest drops in Tulsa when we got the medical report going on.
Right.
So, Damali, Hump Day Hot Topics, what we got first?
Hump Day Hot Topics. Number 1 is just an update. So Buffalo Bills Damar Hamlin was discharged from the hospital 1 week after collapsing on the field.
Thank God for that. I am so happy.
Prayers work. And guess what?
What?
People have donated $8.75 million
Look at that.
to his charity. Yes.
God
and
is
so
good.
we are super excited that he is home, that he is still recovering and still recuperating. However, he is able to be out of the hospital because that was a whole scary scene when that took place.
It sure was. And the Buffalo Bills won this weekend.
Okay.
So he's still feeling
I'm
better and
sure
better. They
he
keep
was-
winning. He might be
yeah,
doing a
yeah.
duck at home like, boy, I'm recovering to speed up. We get to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Hey.
Exactly. All right. Hump Day Hot Topic number 2. Gap Band, Greenwood, Archer,
Man,
and Pine.
You better ask somebody.
Those families are alleging unpaid royalties for Uptown Funk. That's the song that was out by Bruno Mars. Uptown Funk, remember that?
For real, not my boy Bruno.
Yes, they're seeking an accounting of money. So what it says is the families of the Gap Band members, Robert and Ronnie Wilson, filed a lawsuit on Thursday claiming publishing group BMG has held out on paying royalties for Bruno Mars and Mark Robinson's 2014 hit Uptown Funk.
Let me ask JB about this. He's a music extraordinaire.
Yes.
What? Because what I do notice is like all the music now have our beats.
It's sampled.
So now y'all want to hate on the old school music,
Yes,
but all
right.
y'all rappers
Exactly.
stealing our
Yes.
beats. So this sounds like, now I'm going to say that about Bruno Mars. I don't know,
Yes.
but I just want to get an expert musicologist point of view.
Musicologist. What do you
Well,
think?
I'd have to say, right now the space where music is at, that new music that comes out, because the game doesn't change.
Yep.
It just you have to it's the idea is to reinvent yourself.
Right.
New music comes out, the new artists, as you know, it's a different sound than what you grew up on and I grew up
Sure.
on,
Yeah.
as well as the Doc. That old school funk,
Right.
you can't remake that sound anymore
Right.
unless you're still got them instruments from back in the day.
That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Right.
The only band that I know that can do that still does it is Zap, SOS,
yeah,
and maybe Earth, Wind, and Fire.
right.
You know, the real funk
Yeah,
band.
yeah.
So when you got these samples, it is just getting ridiculous with the samples. Every song that's coming out today is a sample from 2000s. It used to be a sample from the 80s and 90s, or the 70s, but the evolution of things, it's beautiful to see. I think there's a lack of creativity there personally. I think there's a lack of creativity, and the record labels, because record labels still do exist,
right,
and they still run the music business on the current music,
right,
especially current hip hop and R&B. So they're just not holding them accountable. I think that's really what's happening is the labels they still want to make money. They got to make money.
Let me say this one thing, and just to get y'all input, and I know we got to switch to the next one, is, when you see the old school bands come, they still actually playing in the band.
Yeah, they're playing.
Yeah. I don't think, I never see, now, none of that, don't y'all young people come up here. Come on, people, when y'all come up here. I'm just saying that when we have concerts and stuff featuring young people, it's these keyboard digital things.
And it's all digital.
So did we lose something when they don't actually play the instruments no more like they used to? Now they can hit the beat, be in studio, boom.
Yeah.
And then they just rapping with us.
You violins,
you in there doing sound check for all night long, maybe all week to get it right.
Right.
Shout out to Kevin Keys and Keep It Real Band. And
okay. Yeah, because they do that.
That's when you get down to it. But is that it, JB? That just that part is gone?
Yeah, just lost in the sauce.
I think it just goes back to the creativity, your creative process, and how you create music. The producers who create these beats, they're not putting any thought into it. They're doing the music to sell records, get streams, to generate revenue.
Yeah,
because as we know, it's a very lucrative business.
It is. It's all about securing the bag. But anyway, come on, Jamal.
We're gonna be watching this and see what happens with this lawsuit. Because Greenwood Arch and Pine.
Funk, personally, I don't hear the Gap Band in Uptown Funk. Now there could be some da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-dum.
Something. Yeah.
Apparently they're saying they owe some. So
BMG is supposed to be paying them 3.4%.
And Mark Ronson produced that record, by the way. He's a very big producer in all genres, not just hip hop and R&B.
Yeah,
we're gonna keep an eye on it.
Yeah, so we're gonna be watching that. We'll let y'all know what happens.
What we got next, Jamal?
All right, health experts are warning of another COVID wave.
Shut up. But keep on talking.
Yes. So it says that the newest wave is the Omicron variant XBB.1.5.
We ain't gonna start this. This is what we not gonna do.
But it's nicknamed the Kraken.
What?
Crack? That's what it says.
They're the Kraken on the Harry Potter movie, but the big thing that came out the water, the Kraken and stuff. Dr. Ferdu, what do you think about that? Come on, help us out. The Kraken, for real, the Kraken.
I don't know what goes into some of the decisions they make as far as what they call it. So I'm thinking that if it's the Kraken, then you know what? Then we're gonna go back to the COVID infections that we had early on.
Right?
Where we had the high virulence rate and morbidity and mortality rate. So, but that I don't think that we're going in that direction at this particular point.
Look, Dr. Ferdu, do me a favor because we got so many people from Uganda. Can you get your things up and put them by the camera so they can see that you represent Uganda, just in case they think that's just a random thing. Y'all see that?
Can you see it? Can you see it? Hold on. Where's the camera?
Right here.
Yes, Uganda.
Yep. See that?
Yeah,
just to let y'all know, it's love for all y'all out there listening in.
All about the love. Yeah, all about the love.
Those are things that we brought back from Uganda. I got my chain on. The mother got hers on. The doc got his on. Y'all are in the building.
Representing.
What we got, Jamali?
Yeah. So but they're saying now that it's the most transmissible form of Omicron to date. You all right?
I know.
Not you. Yes. So they're saying the CDC estimates now that it's making up 18.3% of the cases, and this is week ending December 31st. I didn't pull to date, and then 27.6% of the sequence cases for the week ending January the 7th. So they're saying that they know that we're all tired of trying to mitigate But what we still need to be doing is we need to be masking up, washing our hands,
We got to be
social
smart.
distancing,
We have to be
and all
smart.
of that. Yeah.
All right, so we'll stay posted. When we report back again next week, we'll see what we have on that.
Yes. All right. Black History Trivia question.
Send me my Cash App. I got it right.
All right. So the Black History Trivia question was, who became the first woman African-American attorney in 1872 in the United States? Was it A. Jane Bolin, B. Ida B. Wells, C. Mary Eliza Mahoney, or D. Charlotte E. Ray?
Well, let me see. The answers we got is Charles said B, Teresa said B, my cousin Waletta said B, Brian said B, Judge Tanya Wilson said
I think it was Charlotte Ray.
Charlotte, yeah, and
Charlotte
Keisha said D. And what's the answer?
If you said D, Charlotte E. Ray, you are correct.
Come
so my
on,
daughter
Keisha,
and the judge are correct.
I can't stand these young people. They Googling self. You know I love you,
Keisha.
Keisha.
Tell them don't hate on you.
Googling. I didn't get to Google. No, I'm just playing.
So she was the first Black American female lawyer in the United States. She graduated from Howard University School of Law in 1872. She was also the first female admitted into the District of Columbia Bar and the first woman admitted into practice before the Supreme Court of the District of Columbia.
All right.
Go look her up. That is Charlotte E. Ray.
Charlotte E. Ray.
Let's do this before we hit these upcoming events, Dr. Perdue. So when we come back to you for the three things, you can also answer this question. Sharonda Holmes' question was, does diabetes affect you having a stroke? So hold on to that answer. We're going to run through these upcoming events. Add that in.
Before we hit the upcoming events, can we make some noise for the Dallas Cowboys? I mean, what?
Oh,
hey.
Oh my God, the hottest topic of the week.
I thought
how did that not make the list?
I didn't want to hate on nobody. I was going to say, how about them Cowboys to kick off? But you know what? You either love or you hate the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes.
And I didn't want our show to be about a love-hate relationship.
Right.
So I was waiting for the end so I could say it and leave. You know what I mean? Man,
run out the door.
Get in my car, get out the parking lot and get home, because people be going crazy nowadays.
Right.
Sports. So, but
Yeah.
you're right. Shout out to the Cowboys.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me say it before I go. I ain't forgot you. We run, warm the car up. Warm the car up out there.
Exactly. All right. Upcoming events. World One Development is looking for volunteers to help serve the community. If you would like to volunteer or need community service hours, you can give us a call at 918-380-1493, or you can email me at damali.wilson@world1development.com, or you can inbox me on Facebook Messenger at World One Development. If you're looking to have an event, the 36th Street North Event Center has dates available. You can give us a call at 918-200-9046 to reserve your spot.
Absolutely.
Fitting Back In is still taking registration for justice-involved individuals, past or present, in Tulsa County for job training programs that will yield living wage jobs. You can contact Christy Williams at kristi.williams@fittingbacktulsa.org, or you can give her a call at 918-592-3500 to sign up. We're here to help justice-involved citizens thrive.
Shout out to the 48 people that's already in the program.
Amen.
Making a
Amen.
difference in their family life. Shout out to the young lady that got a house and 3 more getting ready to move in.
Yes.
All right. It's happening, y'all.
Congratulations.
Great things.
All right. Oasis Fresh Market is open 8 o'clock a.m. until 9 o'clock p.m. Monday through Saturday, and 8 o'clock a.m. until 8 o'clock p.m. on Sundays. Make sure you stop by for all of your grocery needs. A children's fund has been set up for the surviving children of Sherry Gamble Smith. You can donate at www.paypal.com/PayPalMe/honoring Sherry.
Hey, pause for a minute. You see, JB said that. Look, Michael Brewer said, boo.
See?
Jeremiah down in Mississippi said program was fine till he brought up the Cowboys. Now you see what I'm talking about, JB?
Yeah.
I was going to say it and leave so they couldn't even put the comments on the live. It's too late. They flooding in. Now you either love or hate the Cowboys.
Exactly. All right, Uganda Missions. If you would like to sponsor a child's education for 1 school year, consider making a donation to World One Development in the amount of $150. That's all it takes. Wow. It takes care of breakfast, lunch, books, uniforms, and a room for the students. So we have already paid for my little friend Kiki.
High five.
Yes.
They sent us a picture. Look at, remember, $150 take care of all of his school for the year.
Yes. Wow.
So they going to send pictures. The difference is going to be, we going to show you a picture of us with the kid.
Yes.
We've been to where the school is. We've been up in the village. So, man, you talking about stretching and reaching your hand out, helping somebody. $150 all year. Oh, I wish my kids could go.
I know.
Oh, my kids in private school. You can't even get toothpaste for a bunch around here to go to school.
Yeah.
But shout out to you, Damali, because you have been just really pushing that. I have as well. We've been sending money the whole time. We might talk about it, but we sending and we're going to structure it where you can be connected. Because the ticket, Damali, people have to connect.
Right.
You kind of live it till you can connect. So we're going to make sure we make that connection. So shout out to our family over there in Uganda, across. They call it the pond. We call it the Atlantic Ocean. It took us 10 hours.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a different.
Get across it,
yeah, that's for a different.
But y'all just know that we working for you.
Tell us, y'all come on across the pond.
Like,
in the United States, you can get run across pond.
Right.
The Atlantic
that
Ocean.
Ain't it.
That
You're not running across that.
No, at no time.
All right, well, that's what we got.
All right, Black History Saturdays will begin Saturday, February 4th and run through November at Edgerec Youth and Family Fun Center, located at 5424 North Madison Avenue. Space is limited. I got the news today. We only have 13 seats left.
Man,
that's it.
You better come on. Doc, what you think about? We're going to have Black History, past, present, future classes in partnership with National Geographic at Edgerec for the whole year. What do you think about
that? Sounds fantastic. You know, I might show up for that myself.
All right, come on through.
My goodness.
Yes.
So February 4th, right?
February 4th is when it starts, and there's going to be some activities, and it's for everybody in the family, you know, from little kids all the way up to grandma who wants to come in.
Here's the bottom line. Right now, teachers in schools in the entire state of Oklahoma cannot teach Black history.
Yep.
Okay, so can you imagine us sitting back and not doing that? We are already catching up right now, trying to figure out what we need to know. So it's one of those things where we just need our kids and even ourselves need to know where we come from, where we are, and where we're trying to go, because everybody needs to know their culture and their history and what's going on. You got to know why you can sing, how you sing, and dance the way you dance, and become a doctor. A lot of that stuff comes and stems from where you're from, and if we can understand that and capitalize on that, we're going to be better, and it makes for a better Tulsa, a better Oklahoma, and a better world to live in.
Absolutely.
What's the problem?
If you don't know where you come from, history will repeat itself.
Absolutely. We sure don't want none of that.
None of that smoke.
We gonna fight. We all gonna be. No, I'm just playing. Come on, let's go on to the next.
All right, so you can sign.
We gonna be some fighting. No, I'm just playing.
So you can sign up at bit.ly/Black History Saturdays, and we'll post this information on our Facebook page so that you guys can have that. Last thing, Theater North presents Paradise Blue. It's going to be happening at the Tulsa Performing Arts Center February 18th through 26th. Tickets are available at tulsapac.com, or you can give them a call at 918-596-7111. You know, some of Tulsa's own are going to be participating in this. You know, we got David Harris that's going to be in it, Kimberly Martin, Alexis Sales, Oh Boom, you know, he's going to be participating. So you guys, you know, they're actors right here in North Tulsa.
I hung out with them a little bit on Sunday. Yes. I went for the food, but I ended up really liking them. I mean, the food was great. But shout out, it's get ready for this. I'm going to be there. I'm going to show, and we're going to have them in here in a couple of weeks. So stand by, be ready for that.
Play. All right, birthdays.
Hey.
So today is my classmate, Mr. Steve Merle's birthday.
What? Shout out to Steve.
Also, Ezekiel Walker turns 12 today.
Oh, man.
And then tomorrow would be Miss Jolie Perdue.
Get up. Hey, give her a little hand.
And my cousin Jenny is also celebrating a birthday on tomorrow.
Jenny from the block? J-Lo?
No, not J-Lo.
That's a different one.
No,
Jenny J-Lo. Okay.
Jenny Finley.
Finley? No, she's not from the block.
No, she's not from the block. No. All right, and then on January 21st, our friend Lamont Collins.
I texted him this morning down there in Louisville.
Yeah. And then on January 23rd, Tyson Thompson celebrates a birthday.
Big T, we can get him in here to talk about his book. I can't wait. Happy birthday. You meet Tyson over at my birthday party?
I think you did. I think you did. You did.
The barber. Keep your head together.
So don't forget, you can hit us up on our Facebook page or our Instagram page. That's, you know, World One Development, 36th Street North Event Center, Edgerec Youth and Family Fun Center, or Fitting Back In. Hit us up on Facebook or Instagram.
Dr. Perdue, man, thank you so much, man. We survived all 2022. We back for 2023. Thank you for continuing to rock with us right here at World One Development News. You can use now the three things.
Well, he's answering a question and then the three
I know.
Things. Yeah. Okay.
I know.
Go ahead.
So the question in regards to diabetes, patients who have individuals who have diabetes have a 2 to 3 time higher risk of having stroke compared to someone who does not.
Oh, wow.
So,
2 to 3, that's high.
So we typically see patients that in our community that have high blood pressure. High blood pressure, you have a 4-time higher risk of having stroke compared to someone who doesn't have it. Diabetes, you have a 2 to 3 time higher risk. We see a lot of obesity that gives you a 2-time higher risk. We see a lot of smoking. That gives you a 2-time higher risk. So, if you kind of collect what we typically see in our community, you may have a 8 to 12 time higher risk of having a stroke compared to someone who doesn't have those risk factors. So that gets back to the importance of us making sure that we know our risk factors and that we manage our risk factors and manage them aggressively.
Sure.
I mean, the fact that we've talked about New Year's resolutions and whether it's weight loss or eating more healthy. And I know we have a tendency to fall off of that, but this is one of those things where every day that you do it, you're made better the next day. We need to make sure as a community that we buy in and uplift each other to get us to a point where we can be a more healthy community.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes,
I love
totally
it.
agree. And your 3 things?
My 3 things, because this is, the beginning of the year, I think it's incredibly important for folks to, have New Year's resolutions that are attainable. Okay.
Right.
If somebody were to say, hey, Andre, why don't you start training for a marathon? I'm not doing that.
I'm just not.
Yeah, look, I don't want to drive 26 miles, let alone run it. I'm not going to do that. Okay, come on.
So that ain't gonna work.
So make it obtainable.
Right.
I think it's really important for people to have a physical goal, a spiritual goal, and a mental goal. And so that may very well be, hey, you know what? I want to eat a little healthier. I want to exercise more. Okay. We're going to fall off on occasion.
Sure.
Don't beat yourself up, pick yourself up and keep moving forward. From a spiritual standpoint, I would love for our community to spend more time in the Word. And one great way to spend time in the Word is to actually choose a book, read that book, choose a chapter, write a chapter. I'm actually something that I've wanted to do probably for 10 to 15 years. I want to rewrite the Bible in my own hand.
Hey.
And so I'm hoping that by the end of this year that I'm going to finish the Old Testament. I've done the New Testament. I'm in the middle of Genesis right now. So no, I'm not saying everybody needs to do that, but it starts when you read and as well as write, you're chewing on the Word, you're getting deep in the Word, it hits you.
Yes.
It hits you in different places.
Sure.
And then when it comes to socially, I would love or mentally for us to be able to do more things together.
Right.
Now that doesn't necessarily mean that we're not wearing masks. It doesn't mean that we don't social distance ourselves, but we're a social being. And so, getting out into the community, helping others allows us to get out of our own way.
Right.
Yes.
And so
that's true.
and from the health standpoint, listen, you know what, see your doctor regularly, be physically active, take your medications appropriately, set up goals of weight loss and check your blood pressure regularly, check your blood sugar regularly. And listen, from a standpoint of a stroke, if you think that you're having a stroke, that is a medical emergency. Please, please, please come in as quickly as you can, because we want to be fast in treatment, be fast in acknowledgement, as well as be fast in getting you home.
Yes,
absolutely.
Hey, and we also want to say a happy birthday to Michael Brewer. He's one of our loyal listeners. His mother turned 78 on Sunday.
Yeah, my wife, she tuned in just in time to get that nugget. She said, love that. Now, the rest of the stuff, she probably already know that, but she said she loved that. Great tips. Make sure y'all keep that in your mind and then you're thinking as you get your resolutions and stuff together. Damali, great show.
Yes.
JB, you knocked it out. Dr. Ferdu, as always, you come in and hit a home run. We thank you for loving on the community, being willing to take time out of your busy day to come hang out with us in here live. But we got to get ready to get out of here. So thanks for tuning in all around the world. This has been World One Development News you can use right here at KBOB 89.9 FM. Please consider donating. And if you get a donation together, make it out to Eden Media Services and send that over to 1216 North Lansing Avenue. Sweet D, we moved on up back in 2022. It's in 2023. Tulsa, Oklahoma 74106. This has been News you can use with your boy Charles Harper. That's me.
And Damali Wilson. That's me.
And we are live every Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. So make sure you tune in. Uganda, we love you guys over there and everybody in the city.
Views, thoughts, and opinions on this program belong solely to the host and their guests, and not necessarily to this station, organization, committee, or other group or individual associated with KBOB 89.9 FM. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you next week.